evening. So we continue our series of talks about the qualities of the Buddha, and we may remind ourselves what are the qualities. I will recite in Pali the qualities of the Buddha. Iti piso bhagava arahan samma sambuddho Vijja charana sampanno sugato Lokavidū anuttaro purisa Dhamma sarathi satta deva manussana buddho bhagavati. So I hope you're all familiar with these qualities of the Buddha. So we currently, according to the plan, we will discuss today Lokavidū. So as you maybe all read the English name of that talk, it's like the Buddha knows the world better than everyone else, something along those lines. So he's a knower of the world. Like Lokavidū, Loka means world, Vidū means one who knows, one who understands, one who like clearly about something. So, and here about second part, we don't have any questions. Vidū, there's no much different interpretations. One who know, one who understand. But Loka, this is interesting things because Loka can be defined differently in suttas. So mainly we have two interpretations. So first, it's Loka as a world, like world system, thousand world system. We have a heaven, hell, and so on. So all this kind of cosmology in a way, world. And second interpretation, it's about world of experience. So how we experience things, what we may experience in our daily life, and so on. And not only we, like everyone and anyone in this world of experience, like let's say Brahma Loka or any other Loka, have this world of experience. So I would start probably from the first one, when the Buddha speak about like thousandfold world system, let's say, because it's I think you're all familiar with the whole Buddhist cosmology when they speak about lower worlds, lower realms, speak about Kama Loka, sensual realms, where we now speak about higher realms, like some heavens, material heavens, immaterial heavens, and so on. So again, as an example, because this we may see in variety of sutta, a lot of sutta speak about this. And in Anguttara Nikaya, we have Chulanika Sutta. So it's just when Ananda asked Buddha how mighty he is, how his voice can be spread all around, something like this. And the Buddha, in his answer, he referring to this thousandfold word system. I would just tell to you as small kind of variety of these things, because we may see in suttas, we have a very detailed and very various interpretations of this, what is word, what is cosmology, and so on. And in latest literature, we have even more deeper. So it's one of the examples. And thousandfold world system, it's include thousands what we have kind of in this our world. And it says it have 1,000 moons, 1,000 suns, 1,000 big mountains, 1,000 they call it Jambudipa. Like this Jambudipa, it's a name of India. They call this place Jambudipa, like all this place where we live. Various 1,000 continents, 1,000 great oceans, then kings of four great kings and their heavens, Tavatinsa heaven, Tusita heaven, heaven of devas who control what has been created by another, and so on. And it's end with Brahma world, and all of them like thousands of all of those things. So it's just a kind of small glimpse that this is a cosmos in a way. This is everything what exists in this loka and this samsara. And this is the first part how we interpret this Lokavidū, that the Buddha is the one who clearly and detailedly understands this world without any kind of doubt in a way. So this like clarity about how this world in a way operated with all principles, and also what is this world, like there's the different kind of realms. And also like at the beginning, this information may be just in a way kind of entertain one. Like it's like almost like watch some fantastic movie, you know, when there is a cosmic ships, you know, starships, they just fly from one place to another, and you see different kinds of world system. But I mean, of course, it's not the point here. The world can be different, but also we know Buddha has the psychic power, one, to recollect his past life and many kind of many number of big number of past lives, so and recollect them in details. And the second psychic power, it's about see how beings arise and pass away according to their karma. So they because of this action, because of wholesome action, they arise in good destination, appear in good destination. Because of bad karma and wholesome action, they appear in lower destination, like in hell and so on. So, and see one thing, that like the Buddha, he himself wandered in this samsara on and on. So he saw the like huge amount of his past lives, and he saw he was in all kind of worlds, you know, as all of us actually. And also second, he see that it's not just an accident, it's happened because of the karma. So this kind of, usually teachers say that it generates strong feelings of nibbida, they call it, like strong disenchantment. You see that there's nothing here permanent and stable. Like now you maybe in Brahma world and enjoy these things, but sooner or later it's end. So it's also impermanent. Then you suffer maybe in hell. I mean, not maybe you, hopefully, but one individual, let's say me. So, and also it's impermanent, it's conditioned. I end up in that place of suffering because of my karma. Yeah. And other people also happen like this. So animal realm and so on, ghost realm. So all these things, it just tell us that, and Buddha tell us this, that all these things have all three characteristics. They're impermanent, they're dukkha, and we cannot identify, we cannot take it as an I or self. So things are conditioned, things are out of our control. And this kind of maybe the deepest takeaway from the first part of interpretation of Lokavidū, that Loka, it's like all variety of thousandfold word system. And even though there are like good place and bad place, all this place impermanent, all this place conditioned, and like all the three characteristics can be applied there. So nothing there what we can hold permanently or where we can be happy. So this need to, in a way, again, generate this sense of disenchantment, that we need to do something with these things. And definitely there is way. Yeah. And now we kind of slowly come to the second interpretation. And maybe here I would like to share my kind of when I first time see this reference to psychic power when you see your past life, to me it was a bit kind of confusing. Like usually Buddha speak about experience and Buddha speak about practice, like, but these things like little bit maybe in a way sound like sidetrack. It's not really was inspiring to me seeing about this kind of past lives and so on. Like I didn't find that it's really useful or something like this. At least that time was my trade of thought. And one my teacher, he shared with me a very good sutta, like one of my favorite sutta, called Kajaniya Sutta. It has many layers of meanings, many things to discuss there, but maybe it would be good for you to study this sutta deeply on your own. I just want to bring up the beginning of this sutta. And at the beginning of the sutta, Buddha says that those ascetics or Brahmins who recollect their past life, like various past lives, they all recollect only just these 5 aggregates subject to clinging, or a certain one of them. So it says like whoever claim, or even in reality he see his past life, actually just experience of these 5 aggregates. So we have the body, we have feelings, we have perception, we have like volitional formation or will, intention, and we have consciousness. So these 5 things, what can be clung to as an aggregate subject to clinging, as a person who see his past life, he actually experienced nothing more than this. So like, for example, if I remember that I had such form in the past, I have such feelings in the past, I have such perception in the past, whatever. So even this memory is already one of the 5 conducts. It's kind of perception in your mind, what is arise. But even put aside of this, what you may remember in your past life, it's just these 5 aggregates. It's nothing beyond these 5 aggregates. So in a way, what I draw a conclusion from that sutta, from that first part of the sutta, that, and because Buddha tells to us that you need to analyze these 5 aggregates as like 3 characteristics, and then see gratification there, the drawbacks, see escape, and the way leading to escape. So you need to analyze and understand these 5 aggregates completely. And this is the job, at least we understand what to do. Like it's a clearly defined job. Of course, it's not easy to do, but it's clearly defined. And in this respect, there is no difference between like me when I remember my childhood, or the person who can recollect his past life, he remembers his past life. Exactly in this respect I speak. Of course, there are other benefits of recollecting past life. But in this respect, that we need to analyze and understand 5 aggregates to break through, to like get this sense of disenchantment and really do something with this samsara, and exactly kind of stop our suffering in a way. So we need to work with these 5 aggregates, and this naturally come to the second interpretation, that Lokavidū, the Loka here means the world of experience, what we can experience, these 5 aggregates, 6 sense bases. So everything what we experience, we actually never go beyond this. In our life, we may see that, like in whatever beautiful place I was, or whatever beautiful sound I heard, and so on. So it sounds like, or it's look like different, but actually it's the same. It's only 5 aggregates and only 6 sense bases. 6 sense, like I have a 6 sense organs here, and there is object outside. The object that changes, my faculties change in terms of maybe become sharper or otherwise, but the experience like pretty much the same. So maybe another sutta what I would like to bring up, and it's also related to this Lokavidū in terms of word of experience. In Samyutta Nikaya there is a Rohitassa Sutta. So this sutta have a kind of background that young Deva, his name Rohitassa, he approached the Buddha by respect and asked the question, Bhante, is it possible by walking, by traveling, reach the end of the world where there is no birth, no aging, no death, no suffering? So almost he speak about Nibbana. He didn't mention it, of course. And the Buddha say like, no, it's impossible. Just by walking or by moving, by traveling, it's impossible to reach the end of the world. And the Deva say, oh, sadhu, sadhu. Like, I fully agree. Like, it's marvelous and so beautiful and so on. Because I remember in the past life, I was a rishi, I was a sage who had a psychic power. He had a psychic power of traveling through the sky. He was a skywalker. So, and he had a very fast speed in a way. So one thing he traveled by the sky, another thing is he have a very fast speed. And the similar there that how the archer can shoot the arrow, the same way the arrow speed would be the same way as his speed. Even his speed is faster actually. So long story short, he have a very fast speed. Yes, and he decided, obtained this psychic power. He decided to reach the end of the world, because this idea that this world is not ideal, like with this birth, age, and death existed like long ago. People like looked for some solution how to reach the end of this world, reach the end of this suffering. And then he tried, and the story says that for 100 years he lived, and he just moved. He moved and stopped only for like eating, like taking care about needs of the body, but he just moved. And what's happening then? He just died. So the story finished that he just died trying. So he passed away by trying to reach the end of the world. That's why he, in this life, like become a Deva, he agreed with Buddha that, oh, sadhu, sadhu, I totally agree. I tried and it really doesn't work. And then Buddha listened to him and then say like, but like I made this statement, but also I'm saying that without reaching the end of the world, it would be impossible to make an end of suffering. And suddenly like kind of error, One thing he say, it's impossible to reach the end of the world. Another thing he say, if you cannot reach the end of the world, you cannot make an end of the suffering. People like a little bit confused, like what do you mean? Why? And then Buddha says that I define the world, beginning of the world, end of the world, and the way leading to the end of the world in this very body, like in this body with the perception, with the mind. So body and mind, he defined the world, beginning of the world, and end of the world. So it's interesting that it's important for us to understand the world in terms of world of experience, this body and mind. And this is look like, according to the Buddhist teaching, sufficient enough to really break through, to make an end of the suffering. But without this, it's insufficient. It's not enough. So similar to this, in suttas we see that the word loka very often in a way like a similar to word all, like word sabba on Pali means all or everything. So everything and world, it's the same things. And it makes sense even from English point of view, like the world all around, it's everything. So we can understand. And there is a Sabba Sutta in Samyutta Nikaya, what's called Sabba means all, like sutta about all. And the Buddha asked question like, okay, I will teach you what is all. What is all? Or what is everything? And he says the eye and form, the ear and sound, the nose and odors, the tongue and taste, the body, this body and tactile objects, and the mind and mental phenomena. So this is all. He speaks about 6 sense bases. And it's interesting that here he mentioned basis, because in our experience, like what we may experience, we never experience I by itself. We never experience form. We experience seeing. We will go through to that a little bit later for next sutta. But somehow, if the Buddha would like to speak about experience, what we experience, what we have, he would say like all it's eye consciousness, ear consciousness, or eye contact, ear contact, and so on. But he speak about 6 sense bases. He speak about eye and form. So it's kind of, it's a basis. It's things what, because of those things, we have our experience in a way. And then the sutta continues that if anyone tried to reject this all, like what we define by 6 sense base, it would be just empty boast or empty saying by on his side. And the Buddha asked why? Because this would be out of his range or out of his domain. So meaning to say, we cannot experience something beyond this 6 sense. Like, and say something that all or everything outside of this would be irrelevant, because you cannot like justify it according to your experience. Even if people dream about, let's say, heaven or some place, or like again past future, what we see in previous sutta, in Kajjini Sutta, that even when people see past life, they see just this, they experience only these five khandhas, five aggregates of clinging. And this sutta also speak about sixth sense. So we know that five aggregates of clinging and sixth sense basis, it's just different way how to define our experience, in a way. So another sutta, also quite interesting, they call it Loka Sutta. So these suttas, just by their names, you may see that it speak about all, Sabba, or speak about Loka, world. So this, again, about world of experience. And it's also very, very related to Rohitassa Sutta, what we discussed before, what speak about that to make end of the suffering, you need to understand the origin of the world and cessation of the world. So, and this sutta speak, what is the origin of the world? This is the question. What is the origin of the world? And then Buddha bring up the easiest teaching. Of course, it's easiest. It's Paticca and it says like, independence on the eye and form, eye consciousness arise. So we have an eye, like eye faculty, like the faculty what can see the organ and all this what is inside. And we have a form, some form outside there. And because of this, eye consciousness arises. And the three things of this, like they call meeting of these three, called passa, or contact. So it's just a word, not world, what may define these three things, like eye, form, and eye consciousness. These three things called together passa, contact. So long story short, in English, it speaks about seeing experience. So some seeing experience arise because of some conditions, because of eye and form. And because of this experience, what we have, there is a feelings come to be. So feelings, as you know, Vedana, it speaks about pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral. This kind of raw, in a way, experience when I little bit like or little bit dislike. I mean, of course, the degree can be much stronger, all these things, or have a totally neutral perception. And because of these feelings, on account of these feelings, craving come to be, tanha, or thirst, they sometimes translate it. So really, I want this. So I see something pleasant, let's say green leaves. Yeah, I feel it's pleasant. I like it. And there is a feelings like pleasant. And because I like it, because it's pleasant feelings, because I'm not aware, I want these things more. Like, for example, I see green outside if I, let's say, in Russia, yeah, like in winter, there's a snow around and there is no green. And I have a Zoom with all of you, you're in Malaysia, and background like green. And I have pleasant feelings. And then there is a desire arise in me that I want there. I want to be there. I want to be where the green, for example, because I may like green. So because of this tanha, desire, there is a upadana, they call it, like clinging or grasping. So it's more deep sense of desire. So you want something and you want to really take it near. You want these things, you want it around you, like it's a stronger form of desire in a way. And we know this Paticca dependent origination, speak about because of upadana, there is a bhava, there is a being or existence. Because of being, there is a birth. Because of birth, aging, death, sorrow, lamentation, and despair, and so on. So this suffering, long story short, arise. We start from eye and form. And yes. And on the countryside, what's happening, because this was how to link it to the world, yeah, to the loka, because it was the answering on the question, what is the origin of the world? How this world arise, yeah? And this makes sense. There is something pleasant to see, pleasant feelings arise, I crave for it. And because of this craving, we are reborn, yeah, like according to the Buddhist teaching. So craving was condition for us for becoming and becoming to birth. So we come to this existence because of the craving, because we cannot let go of this craving. And on the countryside, it says, what is the cessation of the world? Yeah, like there was origin of the world, and what is the cessation of the world? So it starts the same. It says like there's I and form, and eye consciousness, eye contact. So exactly the same. Some form there, some like I have an eye, and some experience of seeing, and because of the contact, pleasant feelings may arise, or unpleasant. Like in this example, let's say unpleasant. Yeah, like I see something, let's say something dirty, what I don't like, and there is unpleasant feeling arise. I don't like it. And but next things, because of the feelings in previous one, because of the feelings, craving has been a reason. But in this one, because of the feelings, craving has not been a reason. So we speak about Arahants, of course. We speak about people who we would like to be. So like we practice in Buddhist teaching, we would like to be free from suffering. And this is a way how to be free from suffering. Of course, it's a long journey, but to like way to arahantship, it's by slowly kind of practicing these things little by little. And to see, yeah, okay, we can finish with that. So because feelings was there, we cannot do anything. Feelings would arise, pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral, but I cannot react on it. There is no craving anymore. And craving is in this negative example would be exactly the same as like or dislike. I want it to be, or I want it not to be. Like I push it. So pulling or pushing would be exactly the same. Tanha in this case, craving. And then because of no craving, no being, no birth, no suffering. So this is the place where, like, I'm sure many of you heard this, that the most direct place where it's possible to work in this area, the place where feelings and craving. So feelings we cannot avoid. We have a body, we have 6 sense bases, but craving we can avoid. It's difficult because we have a tendency, but it's anyway possible. And like in our experience, let's say we speak about our real life experience, how we may use this sutta, how we can become one who understands the world, how we can generate this quality of Lokavidū in terms of Loka as personal experience of the senses. So I see again something beautiful form, like it can be opposite gender, yeah, like for man it's a woman, for woman it's a man. I see like beautiful form. Some like eye form is there. There is a seeing experience happening, and because I may like it, there is a pleasant Vedana, so feelings are there. And then let's say, for example, I cannot catch it on that level. Yeah, it just happens that there is a tanha, there is desire, has been a reason in me. I want it. Yeah, and then sooner or later, mindfulness come back. Like if generally practice some mindfulness, sooner or later you might notice, okay, I have a desire, I want these things. And that time, again, the same story happening, because what we discussed with eye and form, same work with ear and sounds and so on, and mind and mental phenomena. So in this case would be mind and mental phenomena, because you see this craving, you see this desire, little bit late for the eye story, but now you can work with this. You see, there is a desire. There is a mental phenomena. And because of this, you may feel something. You may feel unpleasant because maybe you thought like that we shouldn't have desire or something like this. Or you opposite, feel pleasant because you like this to have this desire. It can be any Vedana arise. And that time you may catch yourself, okay, there is a Vedana. It's pleasant or it's unpleasant. And once you catch it, you win in a way. So this craving not a reason exactly in this one moment. And that's the practice. So even if second time, again, you kind of late, craving already a reason, then third time something happened again and again. And kind of every moment we try to catch this craving. We may try, of course, like it's one of the variations of practice, thousands of variations how to practice Buddhist teaching. So we may try to see on this experience of 6 sense, what I see, what I hear, and so on. And if there is some feelings arise. And then I have a desire, I have a story about this. I proliferate this like more and more, like I like this and so on. I like this color, I like this clothes and so on. And then like very difficult to catch it. But as soon as you're mindful, as soon as it comes back again, you again have a chance at least. So this sutta can encourage us to really do it in our day-to-day life. And it's of course, the result, when the Buddha speak about results, the cessation of the world, when really there's the feelings and there's no craving at all, it's a highest goal result. But the small victory we may experience already right now. The small experience when I see and I don't have a craving for this, I see feelings arise, but I don't have a craving, I win already. Next time I may lose again, like among 100 tries, I may win only once. But this once, you already know what to do. You already have tool, what you need to develop, you need to make it better, but you already have it. So yes. And maybe the last sutta, what I want to bring today, also deep sutta, also can be interpreted in many ways, but also related to world and as a, in a way, loka. In Samyutta Nikaya, there is a Kaccana-Gota Sutta. And Kaccana-Gota, it's a name, the person who approached the Buddha, and he asked him, Bhante, what is the right view? What is the Sammaditthi? Like we speak a lot of Sammaditthi. What is the Sammaditthi? And Buddha said, okay, listen, and attend closely. Like sit and listen. I will speak. It will be not short talk, because Sammaditthi, Buddha say, the right view, very important, and it's in the beginning of Noble Eightfold Path. Like from this come everything. And then he speak about loka. He speak about world, what actually we speak today. And he says that world in general depends on duality, on two things. It depends on notion of fact of existence and fact of not existence. So here, like as usually deep sutta can be interpreted in different ways. So one way to understand it as two wrong views. One wrong view that I would exist permanently after death, and my soul or like something what core would last forever and ever, and I would be happy forever and ever, something like this. And the second opposite, it would be about existence. And second about non-existent would be about annihilism. So when you believe that after death of this body, you do whatever, you live as you like, and then you just die and there will be no existence at all. So one way it can be interpreted like this, because previously Buddha, the question was about right view, and this, as you know, two different kind of wrong views. But another way, and especially the answers, the continuation of sutta, it fit with continuation of the sutta. Another way how to see it is like experience what we have. We may say that this experience exists, it's happening, it's there. Or we may say it's not exist. So it's maybe referring to how we define, let's say, process of body and mind. If we take it as a process, that's what ideally we take it. The things what change, it's one thing. Things what depend, things what arisen dependently. Yeah, there was cause, there's a condition, there is a result. It's one thing. But if we take something permanent, like I'm like this, I'm greedy, I'm angry, I have a lot of compassion, I'm kind. So this kind of stable things that I am like this, and this is myself. So it's again speaking about identification with experience. So some quality, what actually we know from experience, quality change. Sometimes we like this, condition change, we like that, and so on. But it's a tendency of the mind to take quality as a self. Like I'm currently, I like this, and this is my nature. With the body, it's different things. Of course, we see the change in the body. Like 5 years ago, I was like this. 5 years after, I will be different. So the aging there, we can see it. But with the mind, we have strong tendency to take things like stable. That's I mean, and especially we speak about majority of people who maybe never heard about Buddhist teaching and never heard about any kind of spiritual teaching in a way, just like do worldly things. And this is a tendency of the mind, just to take things like they call it in another word, they call it take things as a nouns rather than processes as a verb. You know, noun is some concrete things what exist, like let's say table. And another way of looking at it, you can see it as a process, because even table like look like permanent and stable. But then after 10 years, if it's wooden table, put it outside in Taiping, you know, it's like a lot of rain here. And if it's not protected, it's gone after a few years, it's gone. You may see the mold, eat it, and so on. So these things are processes, it's changing. So this in a way kind of two things what world, because sutta, how sutta start? The world, the loka, depend on this duality, existence or non-existence. So we may take things as they exist, or we may take things as they not exist. So kind of two extremes. And later, Buddha say how we may actually don't have this wrong view, how we may overcome this tendency of the mind, take things as existing or take things as not existing. And he says that if you would be able to see the origin of the world, so you see origin of your experience as it really is with correct wisdom, there cannot be notion or idea or view of non-existence. Yeah. So what is saying that if I saw in my experience that the things appear, how I may say that things not exist? Because I saw by my personal experience appearance of things. Because by definition, if things appear, it means at least for some time it exists. So this wrong view about non-existence cannot be in one who saw by his personal experience appearance. Maybe speaking about this, actually more difficult to understand it rather than practice this. So later in the end of the sutta, we will discuss how we can apply it to practice. And the opposite, for one who saw the cessation of things, so in personal experience, I saw cessation, then how this person can have an idea of existence, like permanent and everlasting existence? Because I saw things cease. Okay, now I have experience of seeing. Now I don't have. Yeah, I have experience of hearing. So things change. It means previous things cease and other things are arisen. So I cannot say that things exist permanently and everlasting. So just by in putting it maybe more simple language, seeing impermanence, seeing how things arise and pass away, would liberate anyone from the wrong view of that something exists permanently or something not exist. So, and that's what Buddha said, that all exist is one extreme. All does not exist, it's another extreme. So, and as you know, middle way, Majjhima Patipada, the Tathagata, the Buddha, he teaches the Dhamma like without this two extreme, and then it speak about dependent origination with ignorance as a condition and so on. And dependent origination is a principle of this. It's like if this has been a reason, this come to be. If this cease, that also cease, and opposite. So, meaning to say all things, if I take it as a principle, all things have a causes and conditions. And there are no such things what don't have any causes and conditions. That's why if you understand that every experience what you have, every loka, even we come back to first interpretation, any loka, Brahma loka, what sounds like an everlasting and eternal, if you understand that these things are conditioned, these things have some ground, and because of this condition, it's come like this. Then maybe karma finish, a person become a Brahma, like then like after some time, after a long time, karma finish, condition change, things also change. It may reappear in some other form of existence. So to see that no any things can be actually permanently and everlasting and so on, it helps not to, again, identify. So it's come back to the idea of atta, idea of self. That if I take things as mine or I or belonging to me, or I have a belief and desire to control things, then I definitely would be suffering, because there are no such things what can be ultimately controlled by me, by anyone. So things have many conditions, depend on many things, and the impermanent and so on. Yes. So whatever you may interpret this loka, we speak about coming back to Lokavidū, the quality of the Buddha. And now maybe the question may arise, what's the difference between like Buddha and the Arahants in this respect, in this quality of Lokavidū? Maybe anyone like to answer? What's the difference between the Buddha and the Arahants in definition of Lokavidū, what we discussed in these two respects? One is Loka as a world system, another is Loka as experience. One who completely knows the world. Is there any difference between Buddha and Arahants?
No difference, Bante.
No difference. Okay, I agree that especially when we speak about second part as definition of Loka as a world of experience, the one who master experience, who understand how things arise, pass away, who understand the gratification, the danger and escape, this is the definition of Arahant, and that's the same quality Buddha have. But if we take in account the first part, if we define Lokavidū as one who understands this world system all around, this, I would say, some difference there, because even Arahants who have this experience to recollect their past life and seeing how beings have been reborn according to their karma and so on, even their deepness of this kind of psychic power, uncomparable with the Buddha. So Buddha have, in that respect, Buddha have a special, unique quality what completely understands the world in all respects. So now the question come maybe to you again. The question is like, knowing these two interpretations, yeah, one is Loka is cosmic, another Loka is a world of experience. Which kind of interpretation or definition you would find more inspiring and you would like to investigate more? So maybe we can define like number one, it would be Loka as a cosmos. Number two would be Loka as experience. And people may maybe answer in chat, like one or two, and we can see who like what. Is it clear what I'm asking? So which?
The second one, as an experience.
Yeah. So we see like someone answered the first and second. Very good. So you can take both. But look like most of the people interested in second. I honestly have this inclination as well, because this we can verify in our experience. This we can try and practice. And as we discussed, any Arahant has this quality. Any Arahant can understand the world of experience perfectly, like according to wisdom, as things they are. So that's very inspiring. And all this come to the end just to, I mean, we all live in our Loka, like this six sense base, five khandhas, five aggregates subject to clinging, and to go beyond, in a way, to go beyond this samsara, to be free from suffering, we just need to study our box in a way. Like we have this very beautiful box, and we don't need to go somewhere. Like it's there, it's here, right now. I have experience. Like yesterday I had experience. This morning, like tomorrow I would have experience. And my job just experience this and understand it fully, according to all these tools what the Buddha give to us. So as our good friend, Venerable, who almost departed, always say that Gambara, you know, we need to do it. continue. So I think I'm done with my part. would like to invite you any questions according to what we discussed. Is there any questions?
Yeah, with regards to like just now Bhante was mentioning about I think on desire, right?
Yeah.
I'm wondering like for example, like I do meditation, right? So every time it's kind of like when I do meditation, I want like peace, I want composure, you know. So is that an unwholesome state of mind? I shouldn't be thinking of that, because every time, I mean, I have the perception, you know, like people telling you that, okay, when you're doing meditation, you shouldn't be expecting, you must not have expectation. So yeah, I don't know, what's your advice on this, Bhante?
So yeah, it's interesting question, like because Buddhist teachings speak about freedom from desires, yeah, and the question is, should we have this wholesome desire in a way, desire to be free from suffering, desire to have good samadhi, desire to have a good deep insight. So this desire along the way, should we have it or not? So here, like many things maybe mentioned, but first maybe come the simile thing. I think it's given in suttas or maybe in commentary. I don't remember exactly, but always they give a simile that if, for example, I have intention go to KL, yeah, and there is a desire go to KL, and yeah, it's a desire. Let's say I need to go there for some reason. So meaning to say I'm not happy where am I in a way. I'm not satisfied with where am I because I need to go there. Let's say just recently I went there for the passport, yeah. So I cannot stay here without passport. It's against the law, yeah. And I have to go there to get my passport. So, and there is a desire. And by reaching this, like all the way how I go there, I still have this desire. But once I reach the place and I already in KL, at least that desire to reach KL already gone. So that's example they give on the answer. Let's say, should we have a desire to get free from suffering, to get Nibbana? Because like Nibbana is freedom from desires, yeah, freedom from suffering. Should we have this desire? So the answer is yes, is this desire very helpful? But it's very important to define between the like direction. Let's say I want to go to KL, but by walking. I do tutong, you know, or charika they call it in Sri Lanka. So when you monk just walk from place to place and maybe sleep under the tree, whatever. So just the idea is experience this walking on the way, whatever happening. But in this case, I have a destination. I want to go there, but maybe want would be different. I intend to go there, but how it come and when I reach there, it's another story. So let's say today I may come only like walk only 5 kilometers, tomorrow maybe 6 kilometers, so on. So I'm not defining exact stages, exact time of achievement in my walking, let's say, but I define only the direction. So same way in meditation practice, it's good to have a direction and understand, let's say person practice the jhana, yeah, good deep state of stability of mind. And it's good to know what is this, what is the quality of the mind, what is the factors of jhana there, and like what is the method, what is the way. But to have in mind that like I practice 3 weeks and I would attain this or that state, or I practice 3 years and I would attain this or that, or like if I, for example, compare my meditation with yesterday and today, let's say yesterday my meditation was much more better. Today, for some reason, I distracted, I think about something, or I worry, or I have a doubt, whatever. And because I remember that experience from yesterday, and I would like to have the same experience, and this kind of strong desire to get your way exactly now, this usually people report that it obstructs you to get deep level of composure or even some joy from meditation. So it would be more obstacle in a way. So this is a very subtle difference between desire to get something, to get result as I want right now or in some point of time, or I have just direction. I have a inclination. I incline my mind to the wholesomeness. I know the method. I know the way. I practice like accordingly, but I don't really put fixed expectations in a way. They call it expectations. So expectation would bring you suffering, but the direction and the understanding how to reach there, it's only, I would call it skillfulness. So I hope I answered your question.
Mate, all of us have experienced suffering and unsatisfactoriness. Right? I'm sure all of us have experienced that. But in your case, that has led you to become a monk. Yet, for many, it has not motivated us to seek that path. So I'm interested to know why, how your suffering has motivated you to seek that path. Is it because the suffering was very strong?
Okay, thank you for question. So yeah, I would not say that suffering was so strong in terms of that no one else experiences suffering, because my suffering was maybe same as other people, like kind of lost in terms of property, like lost in terms of some kind of business or whatever, or lost maybe in a relationship. So these things time after time, I think everyone experience. And even like, at least in my case, that time I had a person who encouraged me, like he told, like, this kind of loss or suffering what you experience right now is normal. Like he, in his experience, he had like these periods, like 5 or 6. Only after this, he established his business or whatever company in really stable way. After some mistakes, after some learning. So you just fall down, no problem. You learn from mistake, you stand up, you go. So it's a normal, I think, worldly answer. They usually encourage each other like this. Person with experience, like encourage it, no problem, like just stand and go. But somehow I remember that idea that time I focused on, he just told me that this like big suffering, what I experience right now, he told me that I would experience at least 5, 6 more times, you know? So that idea that I don't want to experience it again, like at least not in that way, because mostly attachment to result make me experience this or that suffering, and everyone. Because if, for example, I would do something and do like do my work or have my relationship, but I don't really believe that because of this I would be happy. Because of this, I would be ultimately okay, and this is even belong to me. All these kind of Buddhist ideas, you know, like three characteristics and so on. I would take things maybe less personal, less, yeah, okay, lost, no problem. Yeah, okay, like changing in relationship. Also, if you don't really attach to it, so the problem comes from attachment. If you attach to it, you suffer. And maybe answering to the question, some degree of kind of karma vipaka. So some probably like understanding the Buddhist. I didn't see my past life, yeah, I don't know, but seeing the Buddhist teaching, seeing that we come here with some already some lessons in a way, like in our past we generate some karma, now we have some result, this life or previous life, all these things is working, and some people need to have some lesson 1,000 times, some people need to have some lesson 10 times or something like this. So also maybe my, like, I put more happiness in, it was kind of young age, and you get a lot of joy and happiness from some party, from some, rock and roll, this kind of alcohol, and so on, like company. But all these things, as you all know, these things doesn't really give you a lot, because actually it's suffering. If you spend weekends, like, yeah, weekends is okay, you have some experience, but even that, you mostly like pomada, opposite. Why we have one of the precepts, not use alcohol? Because it makes you careless. You're not yourself, actually. You're just worse version of yourself. But because you don't care, that's why you're okay. You're happy. But then, like Monday, let's say it was weekends, Monday, Tuesday, you feel bad because of the weekends. Yeah, like this was very good, now it's bad. Then only Wednesday, Thursday, you actually okay. But from Friday, you start to already looking forward for next weekend. So this kind of cycle, it's almost like small samsara, what ultimately doesn't give you a lot. And that I also experience a little bit when you're good, when you have like your like cash, when you have your money and you have a friends all around, all weekends they're all around you. But once you don't have anything, then who around you? Only maybe family members and very close friends who usually you're not. So yes, I start to see this, most of the relationship what I have just empty, without any deepness, without any really value in a way. And this is big part of the world like this. So, and like all these reflections in situation in general, just to make me a little bit inclined that maybe I need to try, different way, try a little bit this renunciation part. And if it would not work, no problem. Like I come back. Yeah. Like it's just to give it a try in a way. So yeah, like difficult to say because everyone have a different attitude, but maybe then more the combination of the experience, like dukkha, and the fact that currently I don't have strong attachment. Like that time, what motivate my decision, I kind of lost my material wealth. Like currently, the only difficult things for me to renounce my family. So, but other things was not bound. So the combination of some kind of reflection and the dukkha and the situation would allow me. And we call this combination as a vipaka, like karma and vipaka. So I hope I a little bit answer.
Yes, yeah. Thank you, Bhante. Sadhu.
Bhante, I have one question.
Please.
Regarding just now you mentioned about causes and condition, right? So I'm just wondering, like, because I've been like struggling to understand like how by keep on repeating, seeing like causes and condition helps to make you be more wiser.
Yeah. So usually it works like it helps you break the experience or break delusional idea of that things are kind of stable and permanent in a way. Like, for example, I have a desire, like I sit and suddenly I would have a desire for coffee, for example, or for some food. And if I'm not careful enough, I may believe that this is kind of my true self. I really want it. It's something would come from inside. Like if I not do it, I will die. Like it's stronger than me. All these phrases what usually people say when they do something and then regret. Okay, in terms of coffee or food, maybe it's not the bad things, but if it's, let's say, still in mind, I really want that computer or that car or that whatever. So if I have this kind of mind, and if I'm not careful enough where it's come from, if I try to make this causes and condition, try to understand, okay, let's say I saw the advertisement on my TV, whatever, I watch TV maybe, and there was advertisement of this Porsche or whatever, like expensive car. And then also I saw in the window the owner of the car didn't close the door. Something like this, a combination of things. And also I have a maybe tendency in the past, I already thought about this theft or whatever. So if you see this kind of causes and condition, if you see because of that rupa, there was a rupa on the screen, and I have an eye, and there is that feelings arise, and that idea come. So understanding where it's come from, it helps you to break this experience. You understand, okay, like it's actually not I want. It's just because I saw this advertisement, or because I like had this childhood, or like I have a friend who did that theft, and actually he like didn't go to jail, so he's okay. So the combination of things, and this make me to have this desire, or even make this choice or decision, something like this. It may help you to really disidentify with experience. Now it's just a combination of causes and conditions. And what is this you, like that advertisement, what was on the screen, or that also vision from my window, or some friend, or some memory of the friend who have experienced. So like all these things, if you break it more and more, it helps you really to understand it's not I want, it's just these causes and conditions like was a cause for this desire to arise. And this really may help you to not to be motivated by this, not to follow this impulse immediately. And in the more light cases, in terms of coffee, for example, yeah, okay, finally I would get my cup of coffee. But this small reflection to see, okay, this desire arises because maybe I feel unpleasantness, I feel maybe tiredness or like weakness or whatever. And because of this, and because of past experience, because I already have experience with coffee, I know that coffee usually is a medicine for this weakness. And the combination of many things, that's why this desire arises. And I watch it, I carefully observe it, and I understand it's not I want this coffee. It's just this combination. And then I can go and take my cup of coffee. So this small reflection would help you be in a way master of your desires, master of your experience, but don't be motivated by all these impulses. Otherwise, we know where it can end, like millions of people, like trillions of people just go by the impulses, and we cannot say that they're happy. Like this kind of be motivated by impulse, because this impulse, you cannot satisfy any sensual desire by following these things. So yeah, I think I did my best.
Bhante, I'd like to ask, Bhante, I think we know the definition of loka as in two perspectives. One is from the five aggregates, the view of the five aggregates, and then the other one is the cosmic, the physical universe, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I have learned before. I'm not sure whether this is quoted from the sutta or from the commentary. I just want to ask Bhante, is Bhante's understanding of the universe, for example, is the 31 planes of existence? We have the hell, the animal realms, the betas, and then the hungry ghosts, the asuras, and so on. We have total 31 planes, and this is kind of called one world systems.
Yeah.
And then is this in this big universe, we have multiple world systems, and it's also quoted that these world systems have their own Buddhas, their own heavens. For example, Chatumarajika, Tawatimsa, and they are called differently in different world systems. So I just want to ask Bhante if that is also what Bhante has learned.
Yes, thank you. I think that's what exactly we made as a first point, that the thousandfold world system and all this system as a Kama Loka, what we have, like Rupa Loka, Arupa Loka, like material sphere, immaterial sphere, and this sense sphere, what we have. So it's kind of all combination of this Loka as a cosmic, and all what you mentioned about this all planes of existence, and different each plane of existence have its own heaven, its own hell, its own all the conditions what we have in our existence. So yeah, one of the definition of Loka as a world, it's that's what you describe, the whole thousandfold world system. Long story short, yes.
Bante.
Mm.
Yeah, I would like to ask, just now you mentioned that if there's feeling arise, then you some sort like cut the feeling down, and that means not to let the feeling to manifested. So then we won't be clinging, to avoid the clinging of the feeling. So does that what you mean, to cut the feeling?
Yeah, like
Or maybe you can elaborate more on this.
Okay, thank you. So in that we discussed about two variations, yeah, like arising of the world when we have a craving, and cessation of the world when there is no craving. But in both of these variations, feelings are there. So feelings come because of the contact, and we cannot avoid feelings. But by feelings, by Vedana, we speak about this bare experience of the pleasantness, unpleasantness, or neutral experience. So it's not that we think about this, or not what we kind of imagine about things, or we already have this kind of craving about something. It's on more basic level, where we just have a contact, there is an experience of seeing, and because of this, it's pleasant, or it's unpleasant. So this cannot be avoided.
Okay.
Even in the Bhavana Sutta, it speaks about Arahant, and even Arahant have this. So Vedana, it's something what cannot be cut. Since we have a body, since we have a mind, Vedana cannot be avoided. But next step, as a craving, Tanha, can be avoided. So long story short, in practice, we try just not to proliferate or not like come to the level of mental reaction on the feelings. So I feel pleasant, but I aware of this. I just notice pleasant feeling. That's it. Then what else? If it's an open awareness practice, I see pleasant feelings. I notice pleasant feelings. I feel unpleasant. I notice unpleasant feelings. But the wrong way of practice, normal way of living would be that I see or hear or smell, then I have a Vedana, pleasant or unpleasant, and then I start to imagine things about this. I start to think, like why he didn't put down his cigarette, why I have to smell this cigarette? Or why, like, for example, this bird so loud? I give a Dhamma talk here and this bird so loud. So all this story, and then because of this story, I really want to push it away, or I want to have it. So this is called craving, when you really want to have it near, like this is nice things. Because one thing I may just admit, it's the nature of things. Something can be pleasant to me, something unpleasant to me. It's a normal. But another thing, I really want these things, or I don't want these things, or I start to imagine about these things. So this part can be cut.
Yeah, Bante, my comment is when the feeling arises, the clinging or the tanha is so fast that immediately, like, okay, just now you say like female, woman or man.
Yeah.
If I'm a man, when I see a female, there may be good feeling. And then another, like maybe tanha has arisen. So I think from my experience is very fast.
Yeah.
Unless my samadhi is very strong, or I can, when the feeling arises, I stop. So that the tanha won't arise. So, but for my case, many times after feeling, the tanha already arises. So what is your comment about this?
Yes. So this is, I think, like coming back a little bit to what we discussed, that when it's come, it's come. You cannot go back. Yeah. And then now you have this craving, like in your example, you give example, like see some female and you have some liking, some vedana, and then you have desire, for example. Then sooner or later you get back your mindfulness, and probably soon, because desire usually, if you have desire, it's manifest in the body. You may feel like some temperature of the body go high or anything else, like some maybe body becomes shaken if it's anger, for example. So sooner or later you would feel it. And then once your mindfulness is back, then you deal with this already. But you deal with different experience. Before you deal with form and feelings about form and desire about form, but now you deal already with mental object usually, because after this form you start to imagine things, and because of this imagination our craving becomes stronger and stronger, and then suddenly some mindfulness arises. You start to analyze this experience already. Okay, there is a mental image in my mind and it's pleasant, yes, but here I already can step back. I can identify, I can feel, okay, there is a just liking, I don't want to proliferate. So the more basic things, it just once you notice it, once you notice like some craving there, you just notice it and come back to your senses. Come back to like body or hearing or smelling, tasting, and so on. So body, it's like body is always there. Body is more easy to come back to. And once you come back to your senses, your desire a little bit become less. And then it's a time your mind is a little bit more stronger. You may already analyze, you may a little bit investigate. Okay, there was desire because there was that form, there was that experience. And that investigation may help you, as we discussed before, to break your experience by causes and condition and understand it's not just I love that woman, but it just causes and conditions. I saw the form, beautiful form, there is appear feelings and so on. So, but sometime in time where, especially when anger, like if like I'm angry with someone, to analyze and see causes and conditions for that anger, very difficult, almost impossible, because we kind of overwhelmed by this anger. It's so strong. And that time, just come back to the senses, come back to the body, try to bring back your attention to the present. And then after some time, you see mind become a little bit more calm, a little bit more settled, and then you may analyze that experience, why it's come. A little bit later, so it would be kind of an analysis of a past experience, of course, but it anyway may be cause for your wisdom to arise, because next time similar situation may come. Next time some may trigger your anger, or some may trigger your lust or desire. So, but now you, with this investigation, you will be a little bit more prepared. And then again, one investigation, it's not that you need only one investigation. You need hundreds or thousands or millions of this investigation. But every investigation give a little bit more and more and more and more and more. You know, this very famous sutta about the person who do some things using some instrument, like a, I would say, hammer or like small instrument, by he do something. And this instrument have a handle. And the Buddha say like, okay, you see there is a handle and there is a footprint on this handle. But you cannot say that so many was diminished yesterday or the day before and so on. So only you can say when sooner or later it will be broken. Sooner or later it will be worn away so strong that you need to maybe change this hammer or something like this. But the result coming slowly, 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 and it's not visible on a daily basis. But again, it doesn't mean that all this small daily investigation and all small win. So today I win, tomorrow lost, or maybe even this moment I win, next moment again lost. So this small win, they count. And the more you do it, the more kind of it's easy for you to do it next time.
Bhante, I understand. In your comment, what makes a person wish to investigate rather than just let the things goes as before? Like layperson, we don't investigate like causes and conditions. So you encourage to investigate. But in your comment, what makes a person to investigate more and just let it be?
So as usually sutta start, like any kind of spiritual progress starts from faith. I mean, it starts from dukkha. Like previous question about why this dukkha helped me to become a monk. Yeah. So there was dukkha. Without suffering, there's no way. If everything's so good, why you would even bother yourself to change anything? Everything good, everything fine. You are like, don't experience any suffering. So suffering should be there. But as we discussed before, everyone experiences suffering. There's no exceptions. But here, like also Sutta speak about faith. So there is a Buddhist teaching, or there is any teacher. You see, for example, famous teacher in Malaysia. He give retreats, and many people give a good reports. Our life become different. We become more happy. Our family relationship improve. So good feedback, and you generate this faith. I'm confident. Like, okay, look like 5 my friends already give a good report. And look like their life improved. I observe their behavior and their life improved. So this may generate some, at least small confidence to try. So, and then you come to retreat or you come to teacher, and teacher tells you, investigate. You know? And that's why you investigate. And then once you try 2 times, 3 times you try, then you see how this investigation help you in the life. And then not only confidence would motivate you, but personal experience. Now you see, okay, this method actually works. Yes, it requires a lot of effort and a lot of memory and like sati, recollection, remembrance about doing this, and require many things. You maybe need to change your sila, follow morality, and so on, maybe do some wholesome deed. So it's a noble ethical path. Yeah, you need to do many things. But once you see the small result, you will do it easily. You don't need motivation. Like you see, it works. Okay, let me continue.
Okay, about this cosmic view of the loka, right? Then we have the different world systems, and then it's also said that when one world system is going to be end of the world, for example, destruction by fire, water, and wind, and then it goes up to first jhana, second jhana, third jhana. So all these beings that actually are still reborn in these specific planes that will be destructed. For example, like those beings in hell, it was said that they'll be transferred to another world systems. For example, all this is this in line with what Bhante understand?
Honestly, I personally more interested in what I my experience and what helped me to be free from suffering, like to have a general perspective. What is the world system? What's the cosmology? Like, and especially understanding the law of karma. That if I do good things, my rebirth would be low. High. If I do bad things, my rebirth would be low. So these things, to understand the general principle and to have a faith and believe that. Because if I, for example, don't have personal experience by seeing past life and so on, to have a faith and believe that, yes, different planes of existence exist, and I go according to my karma, and all beings also go according to their karma. So this is, as a principle, helped me to adjust my practice, like follow more sila, do more good things, practice meditation, and so on. But that's the details, what you ask, like where those beings would be when the whole world would be destruct, to which kind of hell they would move. I don't feel that this knowledge would change my practice or even give me some faith. Maybe this somewhere exists. I just cannot answer this because it's out of my interest, honestly.
Understand. So actually, yeah, that's why when we have these 2 definitions of loka.
Yeah.
I also feel personally that if it's within the 5 aggregates that we can view, then those experiences are more personal to us and something that we can experience for ourselves, know for ourselves, and see for ourselves.
Yes.
It's just that not to say that we put the cosmic physical perspective away altogether. It's just like we don't see past life, but it is stated that that there is rebirth, there is past life, and so on. There's the future birth, and so on.
Yeah.
And the other thing that also came to mind is that how urgent will that be? For example, the end of this world system, before the next Buddha, the Maitreya Buddha comes, there'll be a destruction of the world. Is this a factor that we should take as urgent to get ourselves realize Nibbana, get out of the world systems, but for example, like Bhante Akachita always says, take your time. It's cause and condition. You want to practice and attain Nibbana, in a smooth, comfortable, with quick-witted wisdom and so on. It's all just leave it to causes and conditions. So that is something that we want to view it as from our own fact aggregates, but we also do not put aside the cosmic perspective. That's my personal view.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Indeed, if we speak about sense of urgency, and anyway, without experience, you would never say when this universe would be collapsed or whatever. We never know. Even what's happening in this world, to see when this war, for example, now some war happening, when it will be over or how it can go badly and so on. Even this we cannot predict. We don't know many conditions, and I think no one can predict these things. But if speak about sense of urgency, Buddha always gives this example of the person need to practice with the same attitude as his head or his clothes in fire. And imagine, your head or your clothes in fire, you would definitely apply all your effort to remove these clothes or extinguish your head, something like this. So in the same way, would encourage us to practice, to take it seriously. But also, it doesn't contradict with what Bhante Agachita tells you, because you need to understand your condition and you need to do it consistently, regularly, with all effort, but without expectation to get things right now. Because you have your condition, you have your karma vipaka in a way. So everyone have different things, but I think right effort, definition of right effort, it's consistently try to purify your mind from unwholesome and try to develop wholesome quality. But this important, it's not a pressure, it's not a kind of tension. You just do it every second, every possible second. Of course, it would be now you do it, then for a minute or two or an hour, you forgot about it. But then again, you remember, now you do it. And then the more often you remind yourself about purification of your mind in whatever practice, whatever you do, sixth sense or breath or anything else. So the task purify our mind and develop good qualities. This task we need to take with the same sense of urgency as a person feel like his head is on fire or his clothes is on fire. And this can be very smooth and comfortable way, but also without any waste. So every time when you see your mind is unwholesome, just do it. Just remember that this universe sooner or later will collapse. And then more early you purify your mind, then more in safe position you are. So if you have this perspective and it motivates you to practice more, I think it's very good to study it and to get this sense of urgency, because that's what it's all about. Yeah, to realize that right now I need to practice. Not tomorrow, not next life, but right now I need to practice. And then even if universe collapse or this world end, you would get your vipaka anyway. So now you practice, you develop your quality, and later this karma would ripe in some vipaka. So it's not like your practice would be wasted or something like this. So if choose better to be and don't develop my mind, or develop my mind and anyway world end after some time, preferable, of course, the second one, when you develop your mind, but without expectation when you reach your state. So this, I think, what Bhante Agachita mean by comfortableness. You apply your effort, you do it regularly, but when it comes that time.
Yeah, Bhante, I've got a question in relation to what Brother Ong Chai Hin asked earlier on. He seems to be saying that, or the discussion seems to be on we arresting the senses when at the stage of when feeling arises before going into craving. I thought, isn't it, that we should be arresting our senses? Means when we have perception, when we see perception, we got our sense door there before feeling arises. That means when we see something, we don't pay attention to the detail of that object. We just know that it is an object. And we stop it there before feeling arises. The discussion just now I heard is, the impression I get is we let feeling arise and then we arrest it there. So which is the correct way?
So maybe it's here too important to understand what we speak about feelings when we mean Vedana. It's not that I already react on some experience with I like it, I have this strong like towards something, or I have a strong dislike towards something. So this already more late experience and more kind of formed. So by Vedana, we speak about this bare experience of pleasant or unpleasant. And because of this, there is arise some thoughts or ideas, and there is a feelings in the body maybe, so I mean, definitely. And this you kind of proliferate and so on. But the experience of bare, in a way, felt sense, Vedana can be translated also as felt sense, something like how experience can be sensed, the bare things. And this, according to the suttas, according to Abhidhamma, according to everything, there is no way how you can stop Vedana to arise. It's a definition of this body and mind. Vedana would be there definitely. Our job is to not proliferate further, not to allow the mind react on this Vedana with this strong like or strong dislike or like any imagination about this. That's what we can do. This is possible. And that's what, if you mention sense restraint, yeah, like when you see things, you're not grasped by sign or secondary characteristic of the object. And this, I mean, you can practice, like maybe, for example, you look at things and you see beautiful object and you may intentionally maybe don't pay attention on this, pay attention on something more neutral. But that time, Vedana already arisen. So you already realize this is a pleasant object. You need to move your attention somewhere. The Vedana aspect already arisen. Otherwise, you would not know that it's a pleasant object. So this bare experience of pleasantness or unpleasantness, you cannot avoid. But you can again do, or we have to do with the next step when there is a reaction of this Vedana.
Okay. Thank you, Bhante.
So just want to give short summary whatever we discussed. So the first things what we discussed about world and different world system. So the just short takeaway from all this story would be that whatever world can be, the most beautiful, the most everlasting, and so on, it's still conditioned, it's still impermanent, and it still cannot give complete satisfaction. So that's why the Buddha encourages us to go much beyond than any devaloka, any kind of pleasant abidance. So the next thing to remember, it's like this, that if we want to understand the world and if we want to make the end of suffering, we need to understand the world of experience, this body and mind. And two, maybe practical exercise. Like we would have, this pilgrimage talk, they have like every month, I think, there is one talk. So you have a whole month to do the homework, if you wish, of course. So the two kinds of homework would be that to see, and in relation to just previous question, to see how by contact, by experience of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, there is a craving arise. And to see really, can you stop the feelings? Or you cannot, or you can stop already craving. So by your personal, just carefully watch, not only like, let's say, bare experience, but also watch how some cravings sometimes arise, sometimes desire arises. And carefully watch on what account it arises, like what is the condition, why it arises. So this kind of bare, I would say, like craving awareness, awareness of the craving when it's there. And I would say not when it's there, but when you're able to see it. Because very often craving is there, but we're not able to see it. So this short exercise, be aware how the contact may like be a cause for craving. And related to last sutta, what we discussed, it was about perception, or idea, belief of existent or belief of not existent. So in your personal experience, you may see which things you tend to believe that they exist personally. Like even this small tendency that I feel I'm stupid, or I feel that I'm beautiful. So, and this kind of idea, it seems like it's I am and it's exists, it's permanent. So just catch your mind when you believe in existence of something, when you tend to forget about causes and conditions and impermanence and so on and processes, when you really stuck, I'm like this, he's like that. He's always like this, ask these questions. He's always blame me. He's always like not generous, or opposite. He always generous. He always kind. So everywhere where we have kind of fixed idea about something, just watch it carefully, notice it. Okay, I have fixed idea about this, and is it really true? Try to investigate. Is it true, or it just kind of ignorant, illusional idea? So I encourage you to have this opportunity, to use this opportunity to watch your experience and learn from this, develop some wisdom.